Hello ladies and gentlemen. Well, first of all, sorry for the sound quality. I'm away from home, so I don't have my usual microphone. I'm just recording this on my phone because I want to get in early with this Game of Thrones stuff. Here's an episode where we talk about the strategy of Game of Thrones, certain things that certain characters could do to get out of sticky situations. Now, the number one problem, strategic problem of the episode was, what are the Lannisters going to do? They've got enemies on the north, south, east and west. All around they've got problems. What can they possibly do? Well, the number one thing they should have done is offer peace to everybody, because even if only one person out of those four groups actually takes them up on their peace offer, it's worth it. But of course, she's already screwed that up with at least Jon Snow. We don't know about the other sides. And it's unlikely they would trust the Lannisters anyway, because we all know the Lannisters. So if you can't make peace with your enemies and you can't fight them all at one time, you need to find a way to either convince them to hold off from attacking you or find a way to turn them against each other. I suggest you could actually do a combination of two. Number one, fake a plague. Yes, I think she should make it look like there's some kind of plague going throughout King's Landing, going throughout her realm. No one is going to want to send an army into a place that is riddled with plague. The Trojans did this in the famous Battle of Troy. They made it look like a plague had hit everyone, and they'd left and gone home, but of course they hadn't. It was all the trick. Cersei could do a similar thing. She could either take a whole lot of sick people who were dying, or just massacre a bunch of villagers if she wanted. You know, she'd have no problem doing that. Brand them to make it look like boils, that's what the Trojan did, and just leave their bodies scattered around. But in order to sell this, she wouldn't be able to tell any of the other realms that there's plague there. She'd need to sort of plant the evidence and allow them to discover it themselves, and also she should herself vigorously deny that there is any kind of plague going on, because that would really, then they'd actually believe that there is a plague. So that would at least hold them off for a time. So if that keeps the east and the west occupied, what could she do with the north? Now, they don't know about the White Walker threat, so let's leave that out of our strategizing because that's not something they know of yet. But an angle they could play with the north is Jaime could go up there and through Brienne of Tarth could communicate with Jon Snow, my sister's gone insane, completely insane. I'm worried she would rather burn King's Landing to the ground rather than actually cooperate with the countries around her. I had to save King's Landing once before against the Mad King. I'm not going to sit by and let my sister become the Mad Queen now. I gotta stop her, and I'm willing to make a deal with you guys if you want to help me stop her. If he's able to convince Brienne of Tarth that he's genuine, because she does know the whole story of how he saved King's Landing with the Mad King before, she believes that, and if they're able to sort of swindle Littlefinger back on side again, maybe offering him Sansa's hand in marriage or something like that, the two of them could be able to convince Jon Snow that this is actually true. They could use that to lure Jon Snow's army out into the open, where they could have a trap laid and ambush them and destroy them. Of course, then that would leave the wall undefended and they'd get overridden by White Walkers, but they don't know about that. But the big problem she has is the enemies to the south, the Targaryens. She knows they're coming, and she also knows that she has 3 dragons. That should be the number one priority in her mind. Even if you could defeat all of your other enemies in Westeros, you cannot defeat someone with dragons. You just can't do it. So killing those dragons should be her top priority, and she had a great opportunity to do that with Greyjoy, but again she kind of screwed it up. First of all, I'm not sure if this is bad strategy on her part or whether it was just bad writing in the episode, but she says, oh, I've brought Greyjoy here to King's Landing because I want to make a deal. Then she proceeds to insult him several times and say, oh, I don't trust you at all. Well, why the hell did you bring him to King's Landing? Just so you could tell him that you don't trust him? Like, I mean, if I was Euron Greyjoy, that'd pretty much piss me off. I'd be like, you brought me all the way here just to say that? You know, probably not a good idea. I actually think that was just bad writing. So yeah, don't insult people that you're trying to get on your side. It's just general good strategy overall. But Euron Greyjoy is offering her an amazing opportunity. He's got a ship of over 1,000 ships that can block the Targaryen advance, fight them in the oceans, let it be a sea battle so it never even gets to Westeros, so that not one of her Unsullied even sets foot on Westeros. That would be the perfect situation if it ends up being a battle at sea rather than a battle on land. And if Greyjoy is as good of a captain as he talks himself up as being, he's probably not, he's kind of in love with himself. But if you could contain the battle to just the ocean, that would be fantastic. But of course, how do you kill the dragons? Well, in King's Landing they got access to lots of different maesters, lots of different inventors, that weird Frankenstein guy, all kinds of crazy stuff. They should be using the winter to design special catapults, crossbow catapults, or they have a special name, I can't remember what they're called, that you can mount on ships that can shoot a harpoon that could skewer a dragon even in the air. They should be working to invent those, so that Greyjoy's ships can go out in the ocean, kill the dragons, and then lay waste to the ships on the ocean. And if he fails, just put them all over King's Landing. You need to be able to defeat those dragons, otherwise there's no point to anything. Weapons capable of destroying dragons, that's what you need, otherwise you're toast. And a good old-fashioned harpoon is the best way to go. So as you can see, it's a crazy scenario to be in, but there's many things she could do. I just don't think she will, because Cersei's nowhere near as smart as she thinks she is. But it will be interesting to see how it all plays out. I think the most likely scenario is that the Lannisters will get wiped out, and then everyone will join forces against the White Walkers, and Dany and Jon will end up getting married and start the Targaryen reign all over again. I think that's probably what's going to happen. But anyway, put your thoughts down in the comments section below. What are some strategies that you think the Lannisters could use to get out of this very sticky situation? I am Bandit, this is Bandit's Strategy, and until next time I will see you guys in the comments.